Hi there folks, this is Dale again. I'm going to talk to you briefly about my Fender Telecaster. Somebody at my church knocked the guitar over. It got damaged. The truss rod is out of adjustment. Some pretty bad dents in the body where it landed against a rail. But long and short of it, I was pretty discouraged with the guitar. I was actually going to sell it and go purchase like a new Telecaster Nashville B-bender, or even possibly a G&L. But anyway, after weighing the costs, it seemed to me that I had a pretty decent guitar with my Highway One. A Highway One Telecaster is an American-made Telecaster, very good quality. I really liked the guitar, so with very minor work and some upgrades, I could create exactly what I wanted in this guitar. So I made the decision to purchase a Nashville loaded pickguard off of eBay. Decided to start sanding the Telecaster down. Going to put a new paint on it. Initially I was thinking about relicing the guitar, but just not a real fan of the relic. I feel like if a guitar is going to get this kind of wear, it needs to be achieved naturally, you know, from years of play and wear. I mean, you can't really get a guitar that looks like Willie Nelson's Trigger by using a piece of sandpaper and hitting it with chains and dragging it behind a bicycle and stuff. You know, the character comes from years of play and wear on the instrument. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope it helps you. I tried to leave some tutorials because that's one of the things that I had trouble with starting this. I really didn't know what to do. How do you sand the guitar? How do you refinish the guitar? How do you get that shine to just pop on the guitar after refinishing it? Can you do it yourself? Can you do it with spray cans? You know, these are all questions that most of us have a lot of times and know what to do. So I'm not saying that the way I did this was right, but it worked for me, and it may work for you. So I hope you enjoy the video. Please post any questions that you may have. Thank you. Okay, so here you see the guitar when I first purchased it. I took this picture for a profile pic actually. At this point the guitar was 100% stock, Highway One, absolutely perfect, no blemishes whatsoever. By the time I decided to videotape what I was doing to this guitar, I had already made it through part of the process. So what you're seeing here is the guitar after I had already used the wood filler, fixed the places on the guitar, and sanded it with a 400 grit sandpaper. I actually toyed with leaving it like this, but as I said in the intro video, that relic look's just not me. I just don't see the authenticity of setting the guitar up like this. Now, here we are routing the guitar for the middle pickup in the Nashville Telecaster setup. One of the things that I really want to point out is that if you don't know how to do something, don't do it yourself. This is one of those situations where I was not capable of doing this, so I got a good friend of mine. Jack actually has a router. He's very good with woodworking and did a fantastic job on this guitar. The hole needed was too deep to take it in one pass, so we had to do it in several layers. So after we got the hole routed out, I went ahead and wanted to make sure that the fit and finish was good, so I put the pre-wired pick guard on the guitar, and the end result is what you can see here. Very, very pleased with that fit. Alright, so here we are after the route job on the guitar. I've gone ahead and taped up the other holes where I have some Fender related markings and stickers in there. There's no need to paint down in there. And taped up the neck where the holes where the neck mounts and stuff is, okay? So initially my plan was to stay with the relic look, but I'm kind of OCD when it comes to my guitar stuff, so I've made a decision not to do that. I actually went looking for a color yesterday, and I was able to go to Walmart and find this Rust-Oleum Universal Advanced Formula. This is a metallic paint and primer all in one. It's made for any surface, specifically wood, metal, plastic, and masonry. It's got the primer built into it. It's got an oil rubbed bronze look, so I think that's going to look really nice on this Highway One Telecaster. So we'll get started with the paint, and I'll check back with you after I've applied the first couple of coats. Okay, so here we are after our first couple of coats there. I actually fashioned together a coat hanger, which seemed to work out pretty well. I have my son's cymbal stand there. Got the coat hanger coming down and going through the holes where the neck mounts to let it hang here and dry a little bit. But as you can see, that is going to be a beautiful finish on this guitar. That bronze oil. You see, I've got quite a few coats to go to end up covering where the wood is showing through. But all in all, this is going to be a beautiful paint job. So actually, after you start painting, you actually see little spots that you initially missed. So I've got a little bit of wood filler right there. There was a big dent in the guitar there that I had missed during my sanding. So I've cleaned that up, put some wood filler on it, and I'll sand that down as well before we put any further coats. But anyway, that's where we are so far. Okay, so the guitar is dry at this point, and I'm doing just a little bit of wet sanding with 1000 grit sandpaper. Now, I don't necessarily need this to be perfect. All I'm really trying to do is get the rough edges and the orange peel effect off of the paint so I can prepare it for a second coat. The 1000 grit is going to take it down really nice, and when I finish, I'll do this a couple more times, and when it's complete, I'm actually going to go over the entire guitar with a 2000 grit sandpaper. So I'm just preparing the guitar to put another coat on it, and I'm going to dry it up here and see if we can see what this looks like. Down close on there. So there we are. It's a very smooth finish, looking really good. So we'll just keep going. Okay, my third and fourth coats are complete at this point. It's hanging here drying, and as you can see, it's really starting to come together. That is a beautiful paint. Even my spot where I had to sand over here and use the wood filler before, completely gone. The dent is no longer even visible at all. These two coats seem to really take effect, and the bare wood areas are just completely gone at this point. So I'm going to repeat this process, probably end up with 7 or 8 really good coats of this on here. It's a little cold outside, so I'm having to paint, then bring it inside and let it dry for 20 or 30 minutes before applying the next layer. Okay, here we are back after, you know, I just lost track of how many coats of paint I put on this thing. I actually emptied 2 spray cans, you know, doing a coat and then every 30 minutes coming back and recoating it again. So I've got it finished up. I've completely wet sanded it. I started out with the 1000 grit sandpaper, finished up with the 2000 grit. This is our finished product before the clear coat has been applied. Got rid of what appears to be most of the orange peel and all that with the 2000 grit sandpaper. I'm very pleased with this oil bronze look that I got out of the guitar. Turning it over, you can see the sides and the back. And of course, like I said, once we put the clear coat on there, I think it'll really pop. I'm going to put a satin clear coat finish on the guitar. So as soon as I get that applied, we'll check back and see what it looks like when we put it all back together. Okay, so we've completely wet sanded with the 200 grit, the front and the back of the guitar. And at this point, I'm hand sanding the sides, which you can see it's got a real nice semi-gloss sheen to it. I'm gonna hold the guitar up here, but you see the back, see the front. This came out great. I couldn't be happier with it. The only thing I'm wondering if maybe I should have done an actual gloss, but I really like the satin, so I think we'll stay with this. Gonna do a little bit more wet sanding on the sides here to get them nice and slick, and then I'll put some wax on them as well. And at that point, we'll be ready to start reassembling the guitar. Okay, we finished with all the clear coats. Right now, what I'm doing is I've put some, actually just turtle wax on here, and I'm just buffing it just like you would an automobile. Just gonna try to buff it to a high shine. So I'm going to put this polish on, and then we're going to put another coat, and then we're going to buff it off and see what we end up with. Waxing it did not give me the shine that I was wanting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go again with the 2000 grit sandpaper on my orbital sander. See if I can take it down just a little bit to get that high shine. I'll do that, and then I'll try waxing it again. Okay, so we're going to clean this off now. We've sanded this a couple of times, and we're definitely getting the smooth surface that we wanted. A little bit of a shine to it. But again, as I stated earlier, the finish that I wanted was to be a satin finish, not a gloss. So this has actually come together quite nicely. Okay, so we're going to go back in here and put another coat of the wax on the guitar. Again, we're just experimenting with the back right now. We're going to have to repeat this process on the front. Of course, the sides are going to be a little bit more difficult because that's going to have to be done by hand. But I think this is going to turn out quite nicely. Okay, so we've completely sanded, wet sanded with the 200 grit, the front and the back of the guitar. And at this point, I'm hand sanding the sides, which you can see it's got a real nice semi-gloss sheen to it. I'm gonna hold the guitar up here. But you see the back, see the front. This came out great. I couldn't be happier with it. The only thing I'm wondering if maybe I should have done an actual gloss, but I really like the satin, so I think we'll stay with this. Gonna do a little bit more wet sanding on the sides here to get them nice and slick, and then I'll put some wax on them as well. And at that point, we'll be ready to start reassembling the guitar. Okay, one of the things that I wanted to point out before I reassemble the guitar is exactly what I used for my lacquer. This is a clear aerosol lacquer. The nitro cellulose, it went on great. And like I said, I used the clear satin. Love the Minwax product. Got this at Home Depot, I think, is where my wife picked it up for me. But as you can see, turtle wax actually is what I use to wax the guitar, and it has come out great. Hanging with my woman, that's where it's at. These are a few of my favorite things. Nothing too fancy, just this old boy who likes to pick his guitar and sing. I got the loving of a good old gal, and she can take whatever life brings. Yeah, these are a few of my favorite, I think. Okay, here we are, completely finished, reassembled. You can see how the pearl pick guard looks up against that rubbed oil rubbed bronze there. I got it all wired up. Got the five-way position switch with the middle pickup here with the Nashville Telecaster setup. I'm very pleased with how this guitar came out. I can't wait to get it strung up and play it. It's got some adjustments that are going to need to be made, so I'm not going to string it up just yet. I have a luthier friend who is going to make the adjustments for me and adjust my truss rod and all that stuff there. So hopefully I'll have it up and running by the weekend, and I'll be able to see what it sounds like. Thanks for watching, everyone.